watching KTUL, Tulsa's Channel 8.
Tonight, the nation waits for word about the possible arrest of a bomber in Boston. Reports early this afternoon were that the FBI did, in fact, have someone in custody for Monday's attack at the Boston Marathon, but the FBI maintains that is not the case.
More from Boston in just a minute, but first, here in Green Country, the threat of severe weather.
A tornado watch is in place until 11 tonight, so Channel 8's Jennifer Zeppelin is keeping an eye for us on the radar. Jennifer.
You know what? It's really a very dangerous situation, especially over southwestern Oklahoma right now. That's where tornado warnings, a number of tornado warnings have been issued for the Lawton area, and there have been reports of potentially some funnels at least being detected by radar. But the size of the hail, the lightning, and the heavy rainfall coming out of those storms has been intense this afternoon and this evening. As far as what's going on here, it's been a relatively quiet day. It's been warm, muggy, with highs today climbing into the 70s and 80s. Incredibly and unseasonably warm for this time of the year. We had the strong southerly flow that's helping to warm us up and keep us on the muggy side. But to the north of this stationary front that actually moved through here on Sunday is back to the west of us and much colder air seeping in. 54 in Stillwater, Pawnee 56, 50 in Ponca City. That just gives you an idea of the contrast of what's going on across the state right now. Well, we are overcast. There is a line of showers and thunderstorms forming out to the west of us. The most intense activity is obviously over southwestern Oklahoma, but here's one little cell that is forming just to the north and right around Pawnee and near Fairfax, kind of traveling off to the northeast. It's been kind of hanging out there. It is not severe, but the big storms that have been producing anywhere from around 1 inch to 2 inch diameter hail continues near Lawton, right around Frederick. Gusts up to about 60 to 70 miles an hour continue in that area, even Snyder. So storms continue to line up and keep redeveloping over the same areas. We're going to watch this area very closely because those storms that form out to the south of us and southwest of us are what are headed in our direction potentially in this very warm, juicy environment that we've had all day long. This is from one of our storm chasers southwest of Lawton today, David Gady. We have our storm chasing crews out and about covering the state right now, and they are monitoring the situation. As far as the threat, we do have a tornado watch in effect until 11 o'clock. The chances for tornadoes increasing just slightly, but it's running at about 10% over most of eastern Oklahoma. The biggest risk for us is going to be hail, lightning, and gusty winds. I'll have more on when the storms will be moving into our area in just a few minutes.
As Jennifer mentioned, when severe weather breaks, we have a crew waiting to chase that storm.
At this hour, Channel 8's Mike Collier is tracking that system near Guthrie and I-35.
Right now, we are just east of Interstate 35 near Guthrie. We've been tracking a few storms to southwest of Oklahoma City. We've positioned ourselves a little closer to the viewing area to, of course, keep you safe throughout the evening if we can get, in fact, these thunderstorms to cross this warm front. Right now, where we're at, it's a little chilly. I know back in Tulsa, it's much warmer. Here, temperatures are in the 50s, and this is just a preview of what we're going to be experiencing tomorrow. Much colder weather is on the way, and we're beginning to experience that right now. But we'll be on it if any storms do develop and move into our area.
Okay, thank you, Mike, and keep it here on Tulsa's Channel 8 for the latest weather updates. Plus, now is the great time to sign up for Jennifer's weather call. It's under the weather tab on our website, KTUL.com. It has been a day of developments out of Boston. We're learning the FBI may have identified a suspect in Monday's marathon bombing.
Surveillance video and news footage might show a person who could be a suspect. Multiple media outlets reported earlier today that an arrest had been made, but the FBI says that is not the case. The president and first lady will travel to Boston tomorrow for an interfaith prayer vigil dedicated to the victims.
Pictures of a Bixby runner at the marathon show what some are calling the second bomb. Now, you'll be able to see Molly Ryan. She's in that white hat, waving before crossing the finish line. But look closely. In the background, investigators say that large sack sitting next to a trash can might contain a bomb because the bag disappears after the explosion. Now, Ryan finished the race about 30 minutes before the bombings and was not in the area.
We saw ambulances and police and fire trucks just coming down that side road that we were on, and then it became real for me, and that was tough because all of these what ifs kind of go through your head at that point.
Ryan tells Channel 8 that despite the bombing, she will attend the Boston Marathon again.
In Oklahoma City, a stolen U-Haul truck parked outside City Hall sparks panic today. City Hall and nearby buildings were evacuated as a precaution, and the bomb squad was called in to check it out. Fortunately, a search of the truck turned up nothing. Police are being hyper vigilant right now because of the bombings in Boston and also the Oklahoma City bombing in 1995. By the way, Friday marks the 18th anniversary. Too many inmates and not enough space.
Tonight, the Tulsa County Jail has 60 extra prisoners. It's been a problem for about a year now. Channel 8's Kimberly Hulsey found out what's being done to stop the overcrowding.
For the past several months, we've been hearing that the Tulsa County Jail is overcrowded. Now they're turning to new measures to let some inmates out early. In just the parking lot, more inmates means more visitors and more sheriff's deputies on site. The Tulsa County Sheriff's Office is doing several things to try and get the number down.
We stopped municipal inmates from being booked into the jail.
Major Clark says they have also contacted the Department of Corrections to come get their inmates within 72 hours. Local prosecutors say this will help.
You got to start somewhere, so I think that's a good first step. I think this is one of these issues that's been around forever.
Doug Drummond says he hasn't seen this many inmates in the jail in his 16 years of being here. He says you have to ask several questions on who should be let out early.
Where do we send them? How accountable should they be? Are they a public safety threat? And who can take them? And what resources do we have?
With the new rules on municipal charges, they were able to let some inmates go.
We had somebody in there for animal at large. We had somebody incarcerated for operating a vehicle with an obstructed windshield. We had somebody in there for jaywalkings.
Major Clark says they have brought in more deputies on the weekends to patrol the jail to make sure everyone stays safe. But if they don't get the number to stay down, it's going to come out of our pockets.
If we cannot continue to operate that jail within our revenue stream, then we're going to have to go outside and ask for additional revenue to operate that facility.
Kimberly Hulsey, Tulsa's Channel 8.
Thank you, Kimberly. The Sheriff's Office is working with all local and state judges to see how many other inmates could be let go.
Coming up next, going green in downtown Tulsa.
A party to celebrate Earth Day. Plus,
a little girl is fascinated by her cochlear implant, but today, this is a life-changing move for Jade. We'll tell you why.
And it's been a relatively quiet day across eastern Oklahoma, but the storms are firing up and they are intensifying. Severe thunderstorms potentially producing tornadoes, hail, lightning, gusty winds are forming. I'll show you when these storms will be moving in our direction.
Rescue crews are trying to get somebody out of this rubble after a fictitious earthquake rocks Oklahoma. We have the latest.
Welcome back. Numerous small earthquakes shook central Oklahoma yesterday and today.
No damage or injuries were reported, but if needed, the National Guard is ready to help out. Channel 8's Caitlin Alexander traveled to Camp Gruber today for training in earthquake response.
Especially in light of recent earthquakes in the area, it's important to note that when those kinds of incidents happen, dangerous chemicals get released into the air. But how do you help people dealing with that? These guys are trying to find out.
Gas mask on, seal the decontamination tent. If all of this were real anyway. The National Guard from 6 different states are in Camp Gruber all this week for earthquake simulations. That means searching through rubble, handling dangerous chemicals, and medical help. Well, for real victims. The folks out here are locals simulating injuries. All this considering there's been seismic activity in the Sooner State just this week.
We have to be able to respond to civil emergencies, and that's one of the purposes of the National Guard being in existence is to respond to those type of emergencies.
Now, once an earthquake victim was treated here in the decontamination tent to get rid of all those chemicals, they would go off to the medical tent next. In Camp Gruber, Caitlin Alexander, Tulsa's Channel 8.
The Arkansas National Guard is sponsoring this Vigilant Guard training. Training continues overnight tonight.
Get green, Tulsa. That was the message downtown today at the 15th Annual Enviro Expo. It's sponsored by the Met and is designed to help people learn about the new ways they can recycle and sustain. In all, about 20 booths were set up for people to talk about CNG and electric cars, environmentally safe cleaners, and ozone alerts. A little girl gets an amazing gift thanks to new advances for the hearing impaired.
She became the first person in this country to receive a new type of hearing device. And as Channel 8's Kim Jackson reports, it's giving Jade new freedom.
This is 5-year-old Jade. You can't tell that she has one of these, a cochlear implant inside, but she does. And today, she has a new device that is life-changing and fascinating.
Her mouth moves, but the words don't always find the sound that comes with speech.
Where's your voice? And she does work hard. She truly wants to talk.
2 months ago, newly adopted Jade received the cochlear implant and a chance to hear for the first time in all of her 5 years.
We're trying to even teach her how to play right now because, you know, she came from the orphanage and her idea of playing is doing the dishes.
With the implant came an outer ear hook and cable. Today, she traded the pink hook for this small magnetic processor called the Rondo. The magnetic connection holds it in place, so eventually she may forget she has it on at all. Jade can play with no worries. She's catching on. In many ways, Jade's speech is like a baby's.
We have to learn to discriminate different sounds from one another and then make some meaning from those sounds. And it definitely is a process, especially for a child that's not had access to spoken language or even just access to sound. Jade hasn't had access to sound.
Bye-bye. Oh, that's pretty good.
Now every sound is new and every syllable a gift.
Well, Jade, as you can see, is still learning about her implant and the Rondo, but you know, she got the implant on her left side. In May, she will get everything done on the right side as well. In Midtown, Kim Jackson, Tulsa's Channel 8.
Jade's adoptive mom is a doctor of audiology and made sure Jade was first to get one.
A sweet little girl. Homegrown Green Thumbs here in Tulsa will have a chance to pick up some locally produced plants tomorrow. The Tulsa Master Gardeners plant sale starts tomorrow at 9 a.m. and it was going on at Central Park Hall at the Tulsa Fairgrounds. They have 300 varieties of flowers, plants, herbs, and vegetables. And organizers say they're bigger, better, and less expensive, so get there early because they sell out. Master Gardeners will also be on hand to answer your questions.
Severe weather is hitting parts of Oklahoma right now. Is it heading this way?
You know what? It's going to continue to keep intensifying and becoming more widespread and moving to the east. Cold front still back to the west of us. And as it begins to make its march eastward, that's when we're going to start to see things really starting to fire up. Yeah, we're already starting to see and have reports of golf ball sized hail over southwestern Oklahoma. Yeah, damaging winds and even strong, we're looking at heavy rainfall. The potential that a couple of these storms could be producing a tornado, but have not had any official reports, only being detected by radar. As we take a look at HD Max 8000, it's been incredible for us. We have been warm, muggy, and we have been pretty quiet. We saw a few little showers early this morning, didn't really amount to a whole lot for us, but things are beginning to develop here, and we have seen a few isolated showers to some stronger storms forming here in the metro, but not a whole lot happening back to the east of us right now. It's really off to the west of us. Look at this huge complex of showers and thunderstorms, and yes, they are severe. Tornado warnings, severe thunderstorm warnings in effect along with the tornado watch. But here are these storm cells producing potentially tennis ball sized hail, golf ball sized hail, gust of wind being reported up to about 70 to 80 miles an hour. And while these storm cells are detecting tornadoes, we haven't had any official reports of any funnels touching down or any tornadoes at this point. And if they are, unfortunately, going to be rain wrapped, so it's going to be very difficult to see any of these funnels popping in and out, but they do have the potential marching off to the northeast, heading towards Oklahoma City. For us, though, right now, we have a couple little cells forming just right around Pawnee and also back to the south of us, right to the south of Okmulgee around Henrietta is where we're seeing a few little isolated showers, and even off to the west around Holdenville, Pauls Valley. So those storms out to the west will be moving in our direction. Whether or not they will hold their intensity at this point is still a big question, but we're going to keep watching the situation over the next several hours. Tornado watch in effect for the area until 11 o'clock tonight, and the potential that we could even see some flooding conditions developing across the area as these slow-moving storms move into our location. And again, the showers and storms begin to form, which is going to be later tonight. The main push and storm system still out to the west of us. While we've had a stationary front hanging out over the area the last couple of days, that's what's allowing us to warm up today and really energize the atmosphere. We haven't really seen a whole lot of showers and storms forming yet. Moderate risk, though. The potential is going to be be great is for hail, gusty winds, and heavy rainfall. We're looking at about a 50 to 70% chance. I've done some revising on this. I think our storm is really not forming until after 9 tonight, continuing into the early morning hours, and then moving off to the east into Arkansas by tomorrow. So our threat will be reduced significantly, but much colder air moving in. It's 50 in Ponca City, and we have 80 here in town. Most of the state warmed up today. Incredible temperatures with that strong southerly wind, and we have the ripe conditions right now. 65 degrees on our dew point, 60% humidity, which is rising. Combination of all of this sets the stage for those storms to form and again potentially become severe. I think a lot of the development for us will be after sunset tonight, really probably close to about 9 or 10. And then the biggest line, the biggest push coming through during the overnight hours, I think between 1 and 2, and then it all moves out and the colder air begins to settle into the area. Rainfall is going to be a major concern. Some of the heaviest rain expected to be to the north of us from Bartlesville, Pawhuska, even around Ponca City. You're looking at maybe 1.5 inches up to 2 inches of rainfall. These are the projected forecast right now. In the metro, most locations looking at 1 inch. This is significant moisture, beneficial moisture, but it may come with a threat or a higher risk for some hail, and even maybe a couple of these storms could produce a tornado. We will keep tracking this system as it moves into the area and the storms begin to form, but no warnings in effect for our area right now. Boy, after 55 tomorrow, we start to climb it, warm it back up again by the weekend. Looks pretty terrific, 68 to 70 degrees.
Looking forward to that. Thank you, Jennifer.
Right. Coming up, find out how much money Marcus Smart turned down to return to Stillwater for a sophomore season.
You know, it was a hard decision to make. You know, I love you guys. I'm a Cowboy in heart, so looks like I'm coming back for my sophomore year.
Wow, what a cool moment as the Oklahoma State Student Union erupted with applause at the news that Marcus Smart, Markel Brown, and LeBron Nash were all three returning to Stillwater next season. Can you imagine the weight that was lifted off Marcus Smart's shoulders? Think about this for a second. He's only 19 years old. He was projected to go as high as second in the NBA draft in June, and he turned down over $10 million. $10 million to return to Stillwater and try to make next season a special year for he and his teammates. I'm not sure I could have done that. Marcus says he went back and forth with his decision, and it was his mother and the memory of his older brother that helped him decide to stay in Stillwater.
I don't think she really knew that I would be in this situation at all. You know, my oldest brother who passed away at the age of 33 with cancer, you know, this is his spot. You know, this was supposed to be him. And God has blessed me to be in this situation and for him to live through me and to keep his legacy alive. And my mom told me that, and, you know, my mom just pointed out some key things to me that kind of made my decision clear for me.
Since these three Cowboy stars are coming back next season, Travis Ford will have the top three returning scorers in the Big 12 Conference. Marcus and Markel average a little over 15 points per game. LeBron is right at 14 points per game. Those numbers should get better next season as well. The Cowboys will be stacked next year and are projected to start the season at least the top 10. Well, Kevin Durant will sit out tonight's final game of the regular season with the Milwaukee Bucks. The Thunder have already wrapped up the #1 seed in the West, and he will have to score 70 points tonight to catch Carmelo Anthony for the 4th straight scoring title. So he's taking it easy tonight and waiting for the playoffs. Who the Thunder will play in the first round is still up in the air. It will be either the Houston Rockets, the Los Angeles Lakers, or the Utah Jazz. And we won't know that until late tonight because the Rockets and the Lakers play tonight at 9:30 our time.
$10 million, hard to walk away from, right?
Yeah, I mean, I had my car picked out, my suits picked out.
What a guy, though.
Yeah, good for him.
Absolutely. Great guy.
All right, thanks, Ray.
And another look at this crazy weather.
It is crazy weather, especially over southwestern Oklahoma, where we've had severe thunderstorm warnings and tornado warnings being issued for that area. Golf ball to even tennis ball sized hail. We've got our storm chasing crews out and about right now. And this is John LaJoy. He's actually out near Lawton, where the storms have just been firing one after another. Well, there's been no official reports of a tornado at this point. There is a ton of lightning and, again, strong gusty winds. This is the line of storms back to the west, moving into Oklahoma City right now. And we will continue to see those showers and thunderstorms increasing in activity here over the next couple of hours.
I would not want to be driving into that like he is right now.
Yeah, those guys know what to do.
Thank you.
All right.
That's our news tonight. Thanks for watching. Wheel of Fortune up next.
Our coverage continues online at KTL.com and at 10 after Nashville.